Well, the UK is part of this genocide and it still supplies parts for the planes, etc., which bomb and kill people in Gaza.
The UK is a part of this genocide in many ways. Firstly, arms supply. Secondly, implicit silence from the people. Thirdly, complicity from the politicians and their unwillingness to support the Palestinian state and their willingness to support the Zionist state, which is terrorism.
And also, Britain has many traditions. Britain has a terrible tradition of colonialisation. But Britain also has a great tradition of humanitarianism, of actually standing up for justice and peace where there is none. And I think we're part of that tradition. We're standing up for things that need to be said. We need to speak truth to power. And we need to stand up to people who are bombarded by a horror show of slaughter, murder, not killings, murder, of innocent people, innocent children, innocent families, and we need to stand up against this sort of tyranny that different governments feel it's okay to do as long as it benefits them in some sort of geopolitical way.
I've seen some horrific things and it just reminds me of slavery. What's happened before is happening now, so that's what...
Is hip-hop cancer or culture? Half of hip-hop history, our children have been indoctrinated with musical content that's sexually Is hip-hop cancer or culture? Half of hip-hop history, our children have been indoctrinated with musical content that sexually objectifies and denigrates black women, that pushes European materialism and conspicuous consumption, that glamorizes, glorifies, and promotes black-on-black crime, mass incarceration, and that has painted a public image of black men that has helped society, government, police, and white power structure to destroy not only the image, but the lives of black men. Anything that is against the best interests of black people needs to be redeemed or destroyed. Fix hip-hop. Make it what it should be or throw it into the ash can of African history.
Shut up, just shut up, shut up, 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 shut up, just shut up, shut up.
Hey, are you guys with ICE? Huh? Are you guys with ICE?
ICE?
Yeah.
What's ICE?
What do you mean what's ICE? I just saw you arrest someone.
Arrest nobody.
No? That guy that was in handcuffs?
He's not arrested.
He wasn't, so
Not ICE.
not ICE? Okay, you guys are just like little bounty hunters?
No.
Alright. So what, you guys are just going around handcuffing people? Hey, everyone, check him out. DeKalb. L Street right here. What are you guys doing?
None of your business.
None of my business?
Yeah.
I pay taxes. My fucking business.
I pay taxes.
Exactly. Probably not more.
Janice ʷʰᵃᵗ here, writer. Guys, I think we can all agree the images coming out of Gaza this week, they've ripped my heart out and flung it against a wall. It's unacceptable, and I now, through enormous personal courage, actually, I'm ready to use that blasted G word. It's genocide, guys. I'm ready to tell you that it's genocide, guys. And I can no longer stay silent. That's what it is. I can no longer stay silent. Now, I was kind of delighted to stay silent for the last 19 months, as many within my industry were paying the ultimate price for sticking their head above the parapet and just calling it what any sentient being would have to concede is a live stream genocide. Mostly people of colour, by the way. But sure, that was great for me, less competition. But I do feel now's the moment for me to come in. I mean, if you come in too early, you could be labelled an Islamist, whatever that means. Come in too late, you're a Holocaust denier. I feel by coming in now, I've given myself the best chance of being commercially viable to both sides in a post-genocide world. Look, as a writer, I think we can all agree that's where all the great literature comes from, doesn't it? Just sitting on the fence, seeing which way the wind will blow, and then going in the direction most expedient to one's career. Now, if the wind blows the other way again, I just want to put on record one more time, October 7th, absolutely condemn it in the strongest possible terms, like sick. But yeah, just praying for peace, guys. Namaste.
Buenas. Buenos días, amigos, amigas. As ever, surrounded by windows. Morning, everybody. Bit quiet on the old X front this morning. My what? The laughter of ʷʰᵃᵗ. Where's ʷʰᵃᵃ? Where is ʷʰᵃᵃ? Somebody tell me. I don't care. The more XP, they've gamified the chat. I don't care what this means. Morning all. Morning to you, my idols. Noisy Parker. Morning to you. Bonjour, Madame Guy. Dave Swift. Can you tell I'm tired? I'm tired. I'm allowed to be tired. Right, well, without further ado, Five past 10 on a beautiful Friday morning. I hope it's nice where you are, wherever you are. Let me know if my jaunty drum and bass beats are too loud or not loud enough. Can make them louder. That would be better. Yous tell me right. I'm not tired, I forgot my own passcode. Right, I've put on a bit of software that should allow me to hear. I'm actually going to play, nice to see you there, Mark. I thought I would play your video about kneecap, save me having to talk about it, or just listen to you talking about it, but I hope you're well. The famous Mark McGee of the fabulous Gyro Babies is on a mission, but he'll catch up later. There might not be much to catch up on. As ever, it's the Agendaless Collective. Morning to you, Rona Whiffen. Matty Ross. I'll get through them. I shall get through the Mancunian candidate. Hello to you. Guten Morgen, John McFadden on X. Nigel Smith. Nice to see you, Nigel. It's always nice to see you, Nigel. We'll need to get a... listen, things to look out for. East Lothian Land Art Festival. I can't mind the dates. James Craig Page is normally buzzing around. He might not be here today, but we'll definitely be attending that. What other things are going on? Tonight I've got a gig, but it's sold out. I don't know if it was sold out particularly because of us, Gutter Blood, but it's we're supporting the Subhumans, who are famous. So it's probably sold out because of them. But looking forward to that at Bannerman's. And there was something else. 27th of June, is it? Brian Jonestown Massacre at the Corn Exchange. I'm sure there's some other things. I take no shame in saying that. I'm tired this morning, and that's all right. I'm not bothered about that. But I tell you what we'll do is because I think, let's see what 50's saying. What's it saying? 1 to 6 p.m. Boston Spuds is offering 2 free kids meals for every paying adult. Also, if you want your face on camera, then feel free to come see the big totty that is myself. Can we hear him? Is he not there? Hold on. No. Oh well. What about that if I do that? I thought I had made this work. I was all pleased with myself. Can you hear the folk? Hold on. Nah, that's not working, is it? Oh, wait a minute.
The planet has been here for 4.5.
Working now,
To make this a totty Friday, then get yourself down to Boston Spuds, Alexandria Parade, and they're doing a deal. If you bring the Waynes along, you can get them a free meal if you buy an adult meal. Maximum of 2 Waynes, so don't be turning up with the extended family 3. Plus, yours truly's going to be here with my big ass camera. Turn up and get it turned up. Like, subscribe, and don't get wide. Catches.
Baby, sex is a Texas drought, and you do the kind of stuff.
Right, anyway, I wanted to look at, see what Swinney was saying. Where is it? Here he is here. Let's build a Scotland that's united, that aspires to be better. Let's see what he's saying, because the SNP are having a meltdown about this whole reform thing, aren't they? Let's hear what John's got to say.
Next Thursday. If you voted Labour in the past, I get it. You wanted rid of the Tories, you wanted fairness, and you wanted real change. But whether it's cuts to the winter fuel payment or cuts for disabled people, Keir Starmer hasn't delivered on the change he promised. Next Thursday, people in Hamilton, Larkhall and Stonehouse will choose their next MSP, and it's clear that Labour can't win. Their candidate won't show up for debates. Their campaign has collapsed.
What's with this music?
This is now a straight fight between the SNP and Nigel Farage's Reform UK. And
ask yourself the question, right? When did you expect? When did you expect? Look at the stadium. When did you expect? I mean, this is a desperate guy, right? This is a desperate guy. Like, fixed stare, furrowed brow. Remember, I've told you. That's look into my eyes. Vote for the SNP. You must vote for the SNP. Only the SNP. Like, this is some disaster comms going on. Like, you know, they don't know what's going on. It's quite amusing. It's pretty. At least we're entertained. Like, you know, at least we're entertained.
The SNP can beat Farage. Farage gave us Brexit with higher bills and a weaker economy, and now he threatens to rip up our NHS and the powers of our Parliament. He spent years parroting.
That's pretty wild to say that Farage gave us Brexit. Like, a guy who wasn't elected, he's not even been elected. He wasn't elected, was he? Like, the idea that it was like, it just shows you that's quite an interesting thing to say. You know, I think that's quite an interesting thing to say. You know, it wasn't Farage. What does that say? It says that it's a kind of tacit admission that you've got no power, that you can't do anything, that this is just a squabbling, you know, just just they're all the same. They're all the same. What's with this music? I want to know who put this video together, though. What's this?
He's pushing
it's like,
the SNP
it's like sort
to
of
defeat Farage in Hamilton.
Like Age of Empires music or something.
I know that times are tough and you want politicians to be on your side. So while Labour powers of our Parliament, he spent years parroting Putin's propaganda, and now he's pushing racist poison. Clearly, he doesn't have a clue about Scotland and who we are.
Who are we?
Together, we must confront him and we must defeat him. And only the SNP can defeat Farage in Hamilton. I know that times are tough and you want politicians to be on your side. So while Labour cut them, the SNP is restoring winter fuel payments for pensioners. To put more money in your pocket, we're scrapping peak rail fares. And to support families, we're ending the cruel 2-child cap. So, whichever party you've backed before, let's unite for our shared values and let's stand up for Scotland. On the 5th of June, vote for Katie Loudon, vote SNP to stop Farage.
It was desperate, eh? Have you ever seen? I don't know if I've ever seen anything as desperate as that, like, you know? It's, I don't ken. Dave Swift says, wasn't Farage, I don't think he was elected. What's this? Robbie Walker finally bought cop. Is that Bobby the Walk? I don't care much. Is that the famous? I'm honoured if it's you, bro. But I'm honoured whichever Robbie Walker is. Named person Sweeney Bolt Alba. Are Alba running in Hamilton? Wasn't Farage an MEP? Aye, might have been, eh? Was he an MEP? It's a long time ago, 2016. Still battering on about it, eh? Anyway. Just finished work in the Chinese boozer. Does that mean you're in the Chinese boozer, or you've just finished work? You're like, you know, were you working in the Chinese boozer, or are you now in the Chinese boozer? Swinney's desperate, eh? I mean, the thing is, the whole reform thing. We saw this Daily Record headline, was it yesterday or the day before? And it was John Swinney, wasn't it, on the front of the Record? And really just given reform promotion, really. So I think a reform surely have got to win it now. It's like, you know, I would never, you know, I don't like any of them. I don't think any of them deserve anybody's vote. The only people I would vote for would be an independent or some avowed socialist that's on the ballot, you know, if there's such a thing. Are the SSP running in Hamilton? Morning to you, Macapella. Jolly good, eh? Well, last night or something, I saw a headline. I thought there was a ceasefire, but apparently that's not true. So the horror continues. Who is the SSP candidate? Is this back to when they've got no social media presence? Not that it really matters, because Joe Haribo says most unionists will back reform. Might be Swinney's fear. Maybe, you know, but I mean, I think we're kind of. I would like to see. I would like to see us progress past this kind of nationalist, unionist definitions, really, because these were kind of definitions set by the neoliberal Nats, you know, on an independence campaign that is dead, you know. Well, that movement and those the failures, those that failed that movement, you know, they kind of defined what the division lines were there. And I don't think that that's healthy or conducive to any progressive. Well, you use the term lightly, progressive, but I'm not a fan of the whole unionist stuff. I think it's kind of redundant. I don't think it's particularly of much use. You got to remember the reason that they're all panicking is because they know the electorate is already apathetic. So it's a protest vote that they're fighting against. They've lost masses of support, the nationalists, I mean. The nationalists have no activists really willing to go out and particularly campaign on their behalf. They're despised, you know, the SNP have become rightfully despised. They've failed Scotland entirely. But really more than failing Scotland, they've failed the independence movement. They've failed all those good-willing people that put their heart and soul into that, you know. They've led them down the garden path, eh? The Mancunian candidate makes a good point, which I would agree with. I do agree with that. We could even go. We can now that I've fixed my. Now that I've found my washboard, now that I've got a temporary fix on my audio, we could go and look at TikTok, if that's something that you want to do. Who wants to do it? The Mancunian candidate is correct. On TikTok, you'll find a lot of patriotic voices. But I'll take a speculative guess, right? That TikTok is a really interesting platform, and we'll probably be looking at TikTok a bit more over this coming few weeks. But I think it's an interesting place for conjecture, and it's certainly full of people opinionating. It's Andy Warhol's vision come true, and there's a lot of nationalist chat. That's a good point, El Mancunian. There's a lot of very kind of staunch, I am a Scottish man and I believe that Scotland should be an independent country. It's quite tired rhetoric, you know, that we've heard 10 million times before, but I'm not going to knock these people. Like, you know, a lot of these people, they feel very passionately about Scotland or what they think Scotland should or shouldn't be. But I don't think much of that chat manifests in particularly political engagement or activism. Could be wrong, but I suspect that it's quite performative in the sense that it's kind of a pool of media, but I don't think a lot of that stuff will translate into actual votes, if you know what I mean. What's this? Colette Bradley. So what do we know? What do we know about Colette Bradley, if anything? What do we know about Colette Bradley?
That is a disgrace and a criticise Netanyahu's policies. You are then described as being anti-Semitic. That is criticise Netanyahu's policies. You are then described as being anti-Semitic. That is a disgrace and a slander. The idea that a propaganda campaign against Ireland is now active in the United States, so that when we are seeking to have meetings with people who are for example, interested in investing in Ireland, they're being contacted in advance with a suggestion by saying, you must open by asking, why is Ireland so against the United States position on Israel? We are among the best informed people, thanks to all those families who sent their soldiers, daughters and sons on peacekeeping to the Lebanon and elsewhere. And I salute them, because when they come back, they tell the truth of what was their experience.
Okay, here we go.
Criticize
Michael Higgins there, commenting on the situation with Kneecap. I'm sure I've seen something. So Kneecap have been, they said that they pulled out, but they've basically been axed from Transmit, right? And Mark McGee made a good comment about it. Let's watch Mark's video about this. Because that would be, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll bring it up here. ʷ̈ᵃᵗ is in Italy, and is it, whereabouts in Italy is it? Is it, nothing, SSP doing, so we've got a candidate, we're not doing anything about it, that's Barra. Would you like to, I'd like to go there. I've said it before, that's where my family come from originally, and I've never been. I need to get myself up there. That's why I follow this lady, Morag Anna McNeil. She always posts these beautiful pictures, you know. ʷ̈ᵃᵗ, Italia. Let me find this un momento. There's a lot, don't worry, we've got plenty of time. We've got all the time in the world. Where was Mark's video? Here it is, here. Right, I'll put this here. I'm going to put, I was going to comment on Kneecap being axed from Transmit. Working and lurking, morning Bob and chat. Great to see you, Mystic Peg. A pleasure as always. Right, let's temporarily pause our liquid drum and bassness and listen to the wise words of Mark McGee on the Kneecap situation, because he always covers these things better. Covers them better than I even could wish to. So let's tune into Monsieur McGee just now. If you're not already following You Call That Radio, then make sure you do.
Kneecap have been dropped from the Transmit Festival due to, inverted commas, safety concerns. Safety concerns from the police Scotland, and possibly is likely due to the fact that the Orange Walk is in town the very next day. So I'm obviously disappointed but not surprised that Police Scotland have no safety concerns over sectarian marches. I'm disappointed in First Minister John Swinney and the Scottish Government for applying pressure on the festival, and I'm obviously disappointed in Live Nation for folding like a deck chair under a bit of pressure. At this stage, details are still very sketchy. BBC claims that Kneecap have pulled out, but that would appear to be a complete and blatant lie. So nothing new there from the British Broadcasting Corporation. But has the council actually threatened to withdraw the licence for the festival? I would say that's the only way that Live Nation can walk this back. Right now there's going to be thousands of people demanding refunds, and there's going to be a major social media backlash. So considering Live Nation only care about profit, then if I was just to hazard a guess, I would say that the festival was in jeopardy if they continued with Kneecap on the bill. It all feels very sinister and could be the beginning of censorship of the arts on a whole new scale I've never seen before in my lifetime. And I don't even know how the refunds are going to work, because I know with festivals it usually says in the small print that bans and times are subject to change. But there'll be even bigger backlash if they don't refund the people. And another thing I want to just bring up is everyone clutching their pearls at kneecap lyrics. These are usually people that like to talk about freedom of speech, and they appear on Glasgow Live comment threads talking about how you would get more jail time for saying hurty words. Where is the hurty words gang at today? They're nowhere to be found with regards to this. And then the other irony is that 50 Cent is still on the bill. A man who's made a career out of doing songs about gun violence, drug dealing, and misogyny since the late 90s. And I'm not for 1 second saying we should ban 50 Cent. But if we're to play a game and compare lyrics, you would say, you know, if you compare 50 Cent's lyrics with kneecap lyrics, what 50 Cent says is definitely much worse. But nobody cares because he'll never say Free Palestine on stage. And he doesn't really get political apart from the occasional pro-Trump Instagram post. I loved Get Rich or Die Trying, which is 50 Cent's breakout album. It was a great album. I loved it. I kind of went off by the time The Massacre came out, because it felt like this is back in the days when you paid £15 for a CD. And I felt like the next album he was just sort of boasting about how much money he had. And I felt like the next album he was just sort of boasting about how much money he had. And I felt like the next album he was just sort of boasting about how much money he had. And I felt like the next album he was just sort of boasting about how much money he had.
What we're saying, that I've got some technical. What we're saying, how can I get myself? That I've got some technical. What we're saying, how can I get myself? That I've got some technical. What is going on, man? What? Oh, I see what it is. No, look. It's alright, don't worry. I'm going back to watch the rest of this video. Check it.
I was skint, so I was like, why am I paying £15 to listen to a guy boast about how much money he's got? So I kind of went off him. And apart from the fact that he trolls Diddy and Rick Ross, which can be quite funny, I have not listened to his music in a long time. So, but he says bad things. Do the people of Glasgow need protected against songs about drug dealing and pimping and shooting people? And you go on, but it's not about the lyrics, it's about the safety concern. 50 Cent gets shot 9 times. Surely being shot is a safety concern. No. They're not going to ban 50 Cent, obviously. Would they ban Kanye West? Would Live Nation and the council ban Kanye West, who just made a song about Hitler? Do you know, I don't think they would. Because it's not about anti-Semitism, it's about being anti-genocide. 50 Cent talks about selling crack, shooting people, and glamorising the occupation of being a PIMP. I don't think it glamorises the lifestyle in general. Rather, it reflects his experiences, which is what an artist is supposed to do. It's the same thing Kneecap are doing. So surely Scotland can't just ban people because they say something you don't like. Especially when the thing you don't like is being anti-genocide. So people are upset about an anti-genocide statement. People are more upset about someone being anti-genocide than they are of the actual genocide. None of this makes any sense, man. It doesn't. Being against the killing of innocents is now can get you banned from playing a music festival. Just we said it. I said it at the last show on You Call That Radio. Imagine John Swinney made his own festival. Imagine how boring and dull that would be. No politics in music. Let's not have any politics. Imagine Police Scotland were in charge of throwing a party. Imagine how shite that would be and all. Remember, all this drama started because Kneecap had a Free Palestine banner at Coachella, and since then there's been a concerted effort to blackball the band ever since. And it disgusts me that the council, the First Minister or the police can dictate who or doesn't play. And Kneecap will still play Glasgow. Now on the 8th of July at the Academy, it will sell out rapid. I expect them to add a couple more dates to that. Because what you're witnessing is the Barbra Streisand effect in real time. The more you try to ban a band, the more people want to see them. And yeah, I expect Kneecap to go from strength to strength. And I expect Transmit to have some major problems this year. It could destroy the festival. And then the Scottish Government's got to look at, they've just destroyed their biggest festival in Scotland, and reflect on that. There should be a lot of reflecting done. It's bang out order, and tickets are on sale. I'll put a link to get the pre-sale tickets for Kneecap. I expect that to sell out rapid. And yeah, let me know if you agree. What do you think about this? This is mental to me. Absolutely mental.
With its sporty
Aye, right. Well, I thought Mark was on point there. Made some very good points. What does it say about Scotland? It says a lot, doesn't it? I think it was quite interesting. He says, you know, it's like the Barbra Streisand effect in real time. And it's almost a bit like that with the political side of things. You know, the more they go on about reform, the more they kind of demonstrate their fear of this other political organisation, which only basically just gives them more publicity and more oxygen. Thatcher said it. I replied to, I think it was Noisy Parker or someone last night, and I was saying, you know, like, I think Thatcher said that when your opponent is forced to kind of talk about you, has the reverb gone? Excuse my audio issues. But it's a bit like that with reform, isn't it? Thatcher said it. If you're talking about your opponent, then they're winning. It shows that they're winning. So anyway, it's a rubbish situation with Transmit. People slag off Transmit. Anyway, I don't know whether that's fair or not, but certainly removing them from that festival isn't a good look. But it's very typical of our contemporary Scotland, you know. We really are, from a mainstream perspective anyway, a bunch of shiters, like, you know. But well done to Mark there, another great piece of commentary and contribution. Take Hickey, I played this video at the start. Teague is this guy, this Irish comedian guy who's been brilliant on the genocide, and what he's never relented. He's never been afraid to tackle it. He pinned his colours on the right side of history right from the start, and that was the video I played at the start there was obviously in response to all these writers that that was the record headline, obviously, yeah. All of these writers that had signed this open letter the other day there, saying that they had agreed, this was it here, that they had agreed that it was it could be called genocide. Michael Walsh said, yes, please cite my being against this all along open letter from a lot of people who've said fuck all about Palestine in 19 months. Call me cynical, but it stinks of celebrity, PR, character reputation management, and you're going to see a lot of it. And I do agree with that. I think that the other thing that I think is quite vulgar about it is that this was a letter that was published in like The Guardian and stuff, which has been less than honourable in the way that it's approached the genocide, and it's just another example of the mainstream media, really, a kind of compromised publication. And these kind of self-important blowhards decided that the place that they would finally express their condemnation for this was via The Guardian, but their social media or what have you, has been sorely lacking. They haven't used their social media platforms in any way whatsoever to particularly highlight the genocide. They haven't highlighted those that have been the young activists that have been incarcerated as a result of it. They've done very little to express any personal opinion, as have so many neoliberal culture merchants. They've done nothing at all to particularly, assume an evident and obvious position. It's very clear for those who occupy the realms of what was celebrity or otherwise, who's been outspoken on this and who hasn't. So exactly, yeah, the genocide genocide in inverted commas. So it's like, sorry, what's it? It was almost doubly vulgar, I think, in some ways, because some of them would have been probably better just saying fuck all. You basically said fuck all up until this point, and now you feel that we're so important, we'll sign this open letter in this mainstream publication and demonstrate these kind of delusional figures of neoliberal culture. So a bit of a self-own, really, but the response to it was all over the internet. The people that have been putting their time and energy into this aren't they going to stand for that, and nor should they. So I thought that Tate guy's little skit was very apt, very apposite, a very good take on it, to be honest. I'm going to go to a very brief commercial break to a great piece that the ʷʰᵃᵗ did a few years ago, and I stumbled across it the other day, and I was like, God, I remember that piece. It was fantastic. So I'm going to play it. It's a piece of film by the ʷʰᵃᵗ, aka Stephen Reynolds, and it's with a long since past legend of the town, or Musselburgh, really, to be honest, but an Edinburgh poet, Jock Scott. This is One Cigarette.
One cigarette. No smoke without you, my fire. After you left, your cigarette glowed on in my ashtray and sent up a long thread of such quiet grey. I smiled to wonder who would believe its signal of so much love. One cigarette in the non-smoker's tray. As the last spire trembles up, a sudden draught blows it winding into my face. As it smells, it tastes, you're here again. And I am drunk on your tobacco lips. Out with the light, let the smoke lie back in the dark, till I hear the very ash sigh down among the flowers of brass. I'll breathe long past midnight, your last kiss.
Brilliant, eh? It's actually an Edwin Morgan poem, isn't it? But there you go. Right, local news. And now for some local news. If I can find my mouse. Come here. Right. What have we got going on here? That was beautiful. It was beautiful. Amazing, eh? A beautiful piece by the Laird. There's a few wee I feel a bit bad. I'll give the Laird more exposure. We need to give the Laird more credit for his great work. He's a brilliant artist, Stephen, and he's made some incredible work. I remember when I ran against Robertson, I interviewed him about. He went to the Darien. He went to the Darien in a sort of magical realist kind of odyssey of. He thought if he went to the Darien, he could reset all of Scotland's problems. I think there was some sort of weird vibe, but it was like Ali's Army. He had some. I can't remember what it was. I'll find the interview. But anyway, he went to Darien and he took loads of pictures of our failed colony. Well, it's not failed if you live there, but our failed attempt at colonising the earth. Was there a number of how many deaths was the final straw for these clowns? One day everyone will have always been against this. It's embarrassing, actually, Matty. I think that these people, if you hadn't, you know, so many people have dedicated their time and effort via the impotent, you know, channels of social media or otherwise or publicly. They've done so much to attack the government, to attack the system, to attack the Zionist murder spree, and for these kind of egoic, I think it's interesting. You know, a friend of mine, Dean Kavanagh, he's got a great. Where was it? I put it. I think it was on Discontent. Kavanagh, the age of celebrity is dead. I think there's a lot in that. I think there's a celebrity fatigue. I think people are like, well, who the fuck are you? You know, there's a hostility towards them, and I think that's probably fair enough, you know. So let me go to local news, which is the thing I wanted to look at first was the traffic. So I wonder if I should. Can I read it here? Or drag it over? Or drag over the Evening News website. Is there anything worse? It truly is the worst publication, both on and offline. I think it's. Have you ever check the Nicky? Let's have a look at the. I mean, look at it. This is meant to be This is meant to be your newspaper. This is how we experience news these days. I mean, it's just a mess, isn't it? It's like a bad trip. Look at this. You can't even read it. You got to take part in a survey first. What the fuck is this shit? It's just unbelievably bad. Belden Lascar says the Laird is a quiet genius. I'm inclined to agree with that. Morning, Bojaws McGlinty. You talking to me? Am I talking to you? Right, I like the frictions. Frictions between pals. Look, if we all agreed on everything would be fucking shite, wouldn't it? Hold on a wee second. I've got my Wendy's mixed up. Right. Just turn it down a wee second. Okay. Council traffic plans will leave Edinburgh with just one east-west route through the city, the capital's Tory group leader Ian White has claimed. And this is this weird thing where occasionally you do get some actual like non-uniformity within the council or whatever, and you kind of go, it doesn't matter whether this guy's a Tory or whatever the fuck he is, right? It's like he's telling the truth. Lorna Slater and the Green Party, they basically want to shut off, and a bunch of other weirdos, they want to shut off the park, right? They want to shut off the traffic in Holyrood Park. And this is so they can basically turn Arthur Seat into their private sort of like bicycle Scalextrics track, like, you know what I mean, for green ponces. But they really feel that the city is theirs. They feel this sort of bourgeois colonialist mentality have arrived, and they're just ever so increasingly just encroaching on every single little aspect of public space. And it's a kind of way of almost privatising the space, but it's like they don't see, when they go out on their bicycles on a Friday, on a Saturday at the weekend or whatever, and they go around the park and everything, they've shut off the park anyway now for traffic going around the park, so you can't take your granny up to the Dunsapie anymore. And it's just another example of the attack on citizens of the city from very entitled middle classes who have either pitched up here in the last decade or so, or are part of these political organisations. And it's very perverse. I find the whole thing really, really perverse, you know. Tories with bikes, or the Greens. Anyway, he says that it will mean increased congestion and more traffic on local roads where people live and shop. Councillor White claims proposed traffic measures and anticipated developments will reduce the capacity of several existing routes between the east and west of the city. And when they're all put together, he says the route along Queen Street, Leith Walk, London Road and into Willowbrae Road emerges effectively the only remaining east-west main road. Do a handstand to continue. Like, fucking hell, man. honestly. I mean, how is this? It's almost unreadable, isn't it? It's just a farce. Look at this. You got a fucking pop-up over here. You got Bisto over here. You've got a fucking leave a comment. You got, what is this? This is the state of our local media. You know what I mean? Mystic Peg. I wouldn't deliver an evening news, never mind read it. Well, we're all in that, like, I mean, why, how could we? It's almost like, look, what is basically being said here. As a Craig and Tinney Duddingston councillor, I am extremely concerned for the local implications of the build-up of plans the council has to restrict vehicle movement in the area, combined with long-term plans by Historic Environment Scotland to close the roads in Holyrood Park. But it's not there. They never had any interest in that. This is just the Green Party, you know, the eco-zealots going like, no, we need to make the park permanently closed to traffic. Why? Why? Thank you very much. Why should the whole park be closed for traffic? Why? Look at the state of that newspaper. How is that even a newspaper, right? It's produced, you know, it's produced in Yorkshire as well. It's making me feel a bit ill looking at it, to be honest. There's my thing. God, this is just still working. Skeely G says, because it's a park. What are you trying to tell me? You're saying that the road should be closed because it's a park? The road through the park has been a important route in the city forever. So why does it need to be shut now? Because a bunch of Tories with bikes say that they wanted to have it as their private garden. That's basically what's going on. It's always been an important route through the city, you know. We've got a road through the meadows. Cars are shit. We need bike and taxi services. This is what I was selling to Lorna Slater just a week or so ago. Bike taxis are my obsession now, but whether they're your obsession or not everybody uses bikes or walks or like active travel stuff, you know what I mean? It's like plenty of people still need to use a motor, or you know, it's like we're not in some new fangled age where everybody's like, you know, got some electric vehicle unless you're minted. The Tories are the car chuggers in the council. See, there's a lot of people, I've noticed this in Edinburgh, right? There's a lot of people kind of like, they've got this anti-car thing going on. And it's like, maybe idealistically, okay, but it's not really practical, you know. A lot of people still need to use a vehicle. And a lot of people in the city, you know, live in different parts of the town, like on the outskirts or whatever, or, you know, like there's just very little concern or even interest in the needs and requirements of people who have lived in the city for a long time, you know. It's very much about a particular central area of the town that suits the needs and requirements of a sort of smaller demographic, and they're dictating all the policy for the whole city. And it ain't right, yeah? I'm not into it. And I'm not the only one. And why is the park shut as well? Lot of shite. Fuck bikes and fuck taxis too. Fair play. Fuck everything, eh? Fuck it all. I can't drive in Edinburgh, but some women in a Chelsea tractor can and pick up in St James's. That's a fact. It's just about economics. It's about rich folk who can afford it, can stay and do what they want. And if you've not got the loot, you've got an older motor and all the rest of it, you're penalised. It's not right. None of it is right. Tonight I am buying a £4.50 steak sold in a Perspex box protected by GPS. Yeah, this is the sad state of our society, isn't it? Really. What's Jesus saying? Let's see what Jesus is saying.
You see the destruction of hospitals. You all watch television. You all see the pictures. You all see the bombardment. You see the starving children. You see the destruction of hospitals, of schools, and you see the destruction of life. It makes me angry. It makes you angry. But anger on its own won't solve it. It's what we do outside, how we bring people together. All our marches, meetings, demonstrations, articles, films, music events, art events, poetry events, how we join in demonstrations together, we join in demands together, and we make our government listen, as people are making their governments listen all over the world. So, do your bit, whatever you can. You can talk to your friends, you can talk to your neighbours, you can talk to fellow parents at schools. There's lots of things you can do, but the main thing is make sure you do something. Come out on the streets and join the hundreds of thousands that have already shown their distaste for what's going on and their determination to change the narrative.
Distaste, eh? That's one way to describe it. Skilly G, your man of the people stick. I find statements like this quite interesting when people say stuff like this. Your man of the people shtick comes unstuck here. Half of Edinburgh's don't have access to cars, and it's not the rich half. See when people use all this data, see when people come with this stuff, you can always tell, I can tell you right away who Skilly G is, right? I don't care who you are, but I know for a fact that you're talking shite. This is when people use the data that's there and they go, oh look, there's a whole section, these you don't have cars anyway, it's like you don't have access to cars. So they justify all of their decision making based on this data. Now, where did this data come from, right? Because I could go now to any scheme anywhere in the city right now. I could go right now and I could go and find countless amounts of people who are absolutely pissed off the fuck about the state of being not being able to come into the city anymore with vehicles, the impact that these travel restrictions have had upon them. This is an issue. This is an opinion that's replicated throughout the entire city. Tradesmen, all kinds of people. So I want to know where you get off. First of all, I'm coming with this, your man of the people shtick. What do you mean by that? What do you mean of your man of the people shtick? Because that's a projected statement onto me. It's like the person that wrote in that ballot box Scotland thing going, what was it they said? The self-appointed voice of the working class. I've never appointed myself the voice of the working class. I've got class politics, which is more than what 99% of everybody else who slave or shite about politics has actually got, including those that are elected. So what do you mean by this, your man of the people shtick? If you'd like to elaborate on that, I'm here for another few minutes. So if you'd like to continue, what is it that you actually mean by that? And who is it you're actually addressing there when you say that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean that your man of the people shtick? Right? I'm born and bred in this city, right? And I have watched what has happened to this town aghast, and I'm not the only one. Jim Slavin wrote a brilliant article yesterday. I was going to cover it today on the show, but I won't. I don't really have time to go through it meticulously, but I would implore you all to read it. In fact, I'll drop it into the chat before I sign off, about how the Fringe were given the building that Canongate Youth were in, and now the council have sacked people that have been working for Canongate Youth Project, for some of them for 20 years, without any notice. And there are so many things that have happened to this city, and so many of these things have happened as a result of a combination of factors. Significantly, the political party monopoly on our council, which is endemic throughout the whole of the country, really, but in Edinburgh it's very observable. So we have this, we have a complete block vote political party monopoly over the city. The City Council in Edinburgh are actively operating against the interests of the citizenship. All right, apologies for the rudeness. Your car-centric views are very much in tune with the Tories. I do not give a fuck whether my car-centric... I do not care if my car-centric opinions are in tune with Tories. So what does that mean, right? People use vehicles, okay? All kinds of people use vehicles. Increasingly, people in the schemes round about the periphery of the city that have been pushed out further and further are ever more ostracised and excluded from the town. But it's not just about that. When you live in the town, right, you often have... My auntie lived in the Calders, right? My granny lived on Ferry Road. Where else, you know, like, I've got relatives in Portobello. Like, most people, right, when you come from a city, right, I mean, I would like to find out, you know, if we could get a poll on people who actually live in Edinburgh and make decisions about Edinburgh, and people who are from Edinburgh, because these are different things, right? There's nothing wrong with living in the city, enjoying the city, it's a beautiful city, being part of it, all of that, that's fine, right? But when you're actually from a place, it's not just you that's from there, it's your family, it's your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your aunties, your uncles, it's everybody else, and they all live across the city, and they contribute to what is a collective conscious experience of what the city is. And one of the most fundamental problems with this city that I've been going on and on about, and that's what, in some ways, in some small way, that's what discontent is, that's what the X is about. It's about going, we've got no media, we have not had any local effective broadcasting, and we never have. And in the past it maybe wasn't so much of an issue, we just got on with it. But now, as we're experiencing more and more attacks from the political class and the political establishment and the propertied class and the landlord class who have taken over the city, this is not just by accident, this is by design. They don't want the city connected. They don't want people in Edinburgh talking to each other. They don't want there to be any expression from the people who are increasingly pissed off, fucked off with what's happening to the town. You can't go there now. You can't cross across in that route now. You have to wait, get a bus. You know, you've got this arrogance of people who have got 90 grand Teslas because they cycle about during the weekdays and that, telling everybody they need to be doing more active travel and stuff. It's like, well, what if you need to get for fucking, like, what if you need to get for from Highvitz to Leith or something, or wherever it is that you're going, right? Wherever you're going in the city, why is it all of a sudden that there's one particular demographic that's dictating everybody else's experience for the town? And all I'm doing is saying what I actually feel personally, right? It's not like I'm electing myself as the voice of the people. I resent when people make these, okay, do I resent that much? Do I give that much of a fuck? Maybe, I don't know. I resent it because it says something about you. It tells me something about you. And when you're behind a username, I don't know who you are or whatever, unless you're going to be very candid about who you are, where you are, and why you possess that perspective, I can't get into a reasoned debate with you about that. I'm only expressing what I feel and what I see with my own eyes, right? And I know for a fact from the way that people communicate with me, the amount of people that stop me in the street, the amount of people I talk to, I know that people agree with what I'm saying. Because I'm saying it because I believe this. I believe what I'm saying. And I know it to be true. I know it to be true. So let's have this discussion. Let's really get into a proper discussion at some point about what is being done to the city. Shutting off Holyrood Park is an act of violence against the people that have lived in this city for a long time, right? This is a recognised route of travel for people in the city. Why should this suddenly be cut off because a bunch of Tories with bikes say that's the way it should be? There we go. My damn guy. Spot on, Bob. People have to use vehicles because that's how our city is arranged. This can be fixed. How about agitating for free public transport for the schemes? What do you mean agitating for free public transport? Skeely G, how often do you share What the X? How often do you share what I say on social media? My social media is suppressed as a result of my outspoken position on the genocide because I'm not going to compromise that. But by the time What the X has been viewed, most shows are up to about 1,000 people. I can look and see a lot of these people. It's up to you. If you just want to share my work, whatever, that's up to you. But you know, you say you agitate. Like, how am I supposed to do that? You know, I have limited means. I do this for a number of reasons. But you know, my actual ability to propagate what I would think is worth talking about or otherwise is somewhat compromised. You know. I'm only able to do this in a very small, independent way. Perhaps my position here in the culture is actually really what it shows is the lack of actual funded, mainstream, proper broadcasting in this city. But like I said, this is a deliberate act. Those that are in charge of the city want it that way. They do not want our localities realising, oh look, we all feel the same way. We're all angry about this. We're all pissed off. We've increasingly seen ourselves moved further and further ostracised and excluded from what this city is. You know, we'll touch on this in greater detail over the coming weeks. Partly because I'm running again in Ward 9, which is Fountain Bridge, Slateford, Hutchison, Craig Lockhart. I'm running in that council seat along with a bunch of other people, and we'll talk about that more over the coming period. But you know, these are issues that I will be trying to address. What's been said here? I have shared your artistic stuff. Great, I appreciate it. But you know, you can share more. Have you shared What the X? Public spaces into private hands. Building, giving up to Fringe for £1 a year rent apparently. Sackings, what the fuck, thanks for linking to Jim's article. Honestly, it's a brilliant article by Jim Slavin, and it exposes it's just another example of what these people have been doing for a long time. And it's deeply unpleasant. It's actually, it's an act of abuse. Edinburgh has been subject to significant abuse at the hands of neoliberals. And see if you even look at what I mean. I've been saying this stuff for years. Perhaps that's why I find these kind of snarky statements like self-appointed voice of the working class, man, the people, this sort of stuff. It's like you're telling on yourself. When you make statements like that, you're telling yourself, you're telling us, you're saying who you are. I had an argument with an adversary a few weeks ago who's like kind of a Reevist that's been here a long time, the oldest Reevist in town, you know. And they in their drunken slavers, you know, because they were just basically pissed and talking shite. But in their drunken slavers, they give themselves away, you know, because they started to kind of assail me about my decision to attack the council and that, you know. And they go, the council, and all this kind of this was their attitude. And it's like, well, I tell you what, right? See if you were from this town, if you were actually born and bred in this town, you're from this town, and you've seen what's been done to this city, you couldn't not start to criticise the council in the way that I've decided to start criticising the council. I never set out to go, oh, I'm going to be the guy that goes on about the council and stuff. It's like, this is what's happened. I'm only reacting to what's actually being done. But see, when I talk like that, I talk with confidence because I know there are so many people agree with what I'm saying. So, you know, something to consider. Right. Thanks for watching. Another intriguing. Hold on a minute. I noticed there on my. They'd let that ghost bus through the park at the weekend. Maybe we should all buy ghost bus decals. Untouchable. It makes Fife ever more appealing every day. Is this what's happening? Forced exodus. Right, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me all this morning. As ever, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to leave. Have you seen... Hold on a minute. Why can I not? Have you seen Grok's summary? No, I haven't. Why can I not see my... Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. A sharp-tongued Scottish live stream host fearlessly calls out neoliberal hypocrisy and champions Palestinian rights with biting wit. Okay, respect to yourself, Skilly G. Thanks for sharing my artistic stuff. Right, everybody, have a lovely Friday. If you want to support Discontent, please do. You can donate, you can join, you can do what needs to be done. I'm going to leave us with a genuine piece of nostalgia. It's an Orbital track that I clocked yesterday, and I was like, oh, I like that, and it's particularly nostalgic. So, I've done it. I've pushed. We're back again. How about that? So this is Orbital Lush 3.1. Have a great Friday. I'll see anybody that's attending Bannerman's tonight. I'll catch you later. And have a good one. Take it easy to you, Mystic Peg, as well, bro. In fact, I'll click you here. Right, this is Orbital, Lush 1. Peace out.